Fred, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Tom, for having me today.
It's nice to have you as part of OIS. This seems like a good opportunity to sort of reintroduce our viewers to Novartis and its ophthalmology practice, which you're heading. Can you tell us sort of what assets you're overseeing and what the sources of those assets were?
Yeah, certainly. So as you know, last year we have integrated Alcon Pharmaceuticals into Novartis Retina under the umbrella of Novartis Pharma. Mm-hmm. So we are now one unit doing pharmaceuticals, basically, under Novartis Pharma. So we are made of the legacy Alcon portfolio and, of course, the Retina presence we have outside of the US with Lucentis. Mm-hmm. So it's a large portfolio.
I think when we talked last, you talked about the children separating from the in the divorce.
Somehow.
Is the settlement complete? The pharma products are now completely separate from Alcon?
Yes, it is. And of course, depending on the countries, we have different speed, but basically all the people have transferred, and now we are in the phase of transferring, the distribution, transferring the marketing authorization in different countries. So it's all happening very well. We should be completed by middle of next year.
Mm-hmm. So the Alcon's, the device side of Alcon, its fate is not tied to the pharma.
Not anymore. So Alcon is pure medical devices, and we are the entire pharma portfolio is under Novartis now.
Understood. Great. And you've been active. So what areas within ophthalmology do you focus on? I'd like to hit upon a couple of deals you've done recently, but give us a broad overview of the areas you're covering.
So as you know, our portfolio is extremely large. Sure. So we have presence in almost all therapeutic areas, with the exception of dry eye RX, where we were not before, and therefore we have a very broad view on the field. I would say we are not necessarily focusing on anything particular. We would be interested by anything in any disease affecting the eye. But certainly there are parts of the market that we like more than most, and certainly retina is of great interest for us. And as you know, we have a readout of our our two phase 3 studies on brolucizumab coming up very, very soon. Mm-hmm. And we will know if we have a very interesting long-acting anti-VEGF that we'll be able to launch worldwide very soon. So retina clearly is a center of interest, but we are covering everything from dry eye to glaucoma to even some more rare sort of diseases affecting the eye. So we have a very broad look at everything that is out there. Internally, as you know, we have a very large research team in Cambridge, mm-hmm. and also we are covering multiple diseases over there. So I would say we are more interested by some areas than others, but we are very alert in terms of looking at everything that is out there.
I don't know if it's possible to estimate this sort of thing, but looking at the research unit in Cambridge, what percentage of that work would be going toward ophthalmology? I mean,
so interestingly enough, ophthalmology is the second largest investment we have in research after oncology.
Wow!
For Novartis, so it's a very large group we have there.
It's easier than I thought to estimate that. Okay.
Right? No, it's number 2 for Novartis. So very, very large and productive. So.
That's terrific. But you've also been active on the M&A front.
We have.
We did a podcast about the Encore acquisition, which is an interesting play in presbyopia. How did that come together? I mean, you hear of a product, an eye drop that can help correct presbyopia. It's fascinating, but I didn't necessarily see it as being something that a larger player would be ready to place a bet on yet. But tell us how you first came into contact with Encore and sort of how that deal came together.
Yes. So back to the question before about the area of focus. Presbyopia was not necessarily a place where we were actively looking for something.
Sure.
But when the team of Encore came to us with the data they had generated, we triggered immediately a massive amount of interest because there is a higher medical need. It's a condition that affects 1.3 billion patients around the world, and there is now no decent pharmaceutical option to treat presbyopia. So we had an immense immediate interest in collaborating with this company, trying to understand better the sort of asset they had. So I think for us, the interest was very much linked to the medical need and the size of the market that it would represent. So the product now is called UNR 844, as I told last time, with a very friendly code name. And we'll be referring to it this way from now on. Mm-hmm. And we've been transitioning very, very well. All the activities were from the Encore team, and now it's all internalized in our portfolio, in our pipeline, and we are progressing already quite rapidly.
So what might we see from that project over the next year or two? Where is it at? And
we will redo. We have a number of scientific questions to answer about how to use the product, for how long, what sort of patient population will benefit from it the most.
Sure.
So they've done very, very good work. We have it already in human data that is actually very, very good. But what we want to do is to understand that a bit more before going to large-scale studies. So what you might see is maybe more smaller studies coming out to try to understand these very specific questions we have on how to best use the product.
And I suspect you're still not able to talk about the terms of the deal, correct?
No, still not.
Well, another deal you won't be able to express the terms about is the acquisition of Lubricys. It's ECF 842-3.
843.
Sorry.
Yes.
Not 42. That is for dry eye.
That's for dry eye.
Tell us again. That almost sounds like an Encore deal. Some of the speculative prices out there sound like a very large neighborhood for a deal. And I don't know if they're true or not in terms of the price paid. And I know you're not going to confirm what it was. But talk about the deal. How did you identify that company, and how did the deal come together?
So that's a very interesting process. So as I said, when you look at the portfolio we have at Novartis in ophthalmology, we are present in almost every single therapeutic area. The only place where we are lacking a product is really in dry RX segment, which is actually very promising, not only in the US, but also now in Europe, where one product has been approved and launched, and also countries like in Asia or in Japan, for instance, where the market is quite sophisticated. So we've been looking for something for years. Even before I joined that unit, looking for compounds that could actually address signs and symptoms for a broad population of patients. And we've assessed a number of assets. We really struggled to find something that was working very well. And then we came across this company, Lubricys, which had developed a form of lubricin, which is a naturally occurring protein that we all have in our tears. We also have it in our joints. It's actually a very, very interesting molecule that we all produce. It's a very sticky and very slippery, massive glycoprotein. And so it sticks to everything, and then it's much more slippery than Teflon. So you have it in your joints, you have it in your tears. Of course, some people don't, like the shoulder patients, for instance, don't have it in their tears. And the hypothesis we have is that by supplementing the tears with that compound, that protein, you can actually restore normal function of the tear layers, basically. And for a large population of patients, not only for the aqueous deficiency patients, but also for the MGD patients and, of course, the mixed patients. And we know it's the largest population of patients actually is MGD. Mm-hmm. So we had been collaborating with this company for some time. We put an option to acquire the rights for ophthalmology worldwide, except in Europe, a year ago. And we've been working with this company for a year on the technical development side because it's a very, very complicated molecule. And after a year, we said, now we know more about this molecule. We are very confident it does what we thought it was doing, and therefore we decided to acquire the rights. So that's been a long collaboration and a very fruitful one. Mm-hmm. We found very good partners there. They're actually terrific people.
That's terrific. When you set out to sort of build out this franchise even more, was it in your plan to make a few sizable, early stage but sizable acquisitions and projects like that?
No, it was. Yeah. We can't research and develop on every aspect of the eye. So we always knew we would have to complement our internal efforts with external acquisitions. Mm-hmm. So we are listening to everything that is out there. We speak to everyone, but we do very targeted acquisitions. We tend to be very picky, but.
Well, that's great. What do you anticipate then seeing or showing us, or what might we see from Novartis in the next 2 or 3 years? Do you think similar pace, or do you anticipate that perhaps you'll de-emphasize M&A and sort of digest these projects? What will happen?
So I'd like to do more, mm-hmm. But we need to find interesting and very promising assets. So I would say we are very, very open to do more, and we have the Novartis. We are backed up by a large organization, so we can actually acquire whatever we find interesting. Mm-hmm. Certainly the next big milestone for us is brolucizumab in June. It could be a breakthrough. We'll see what the results will tell. If the phase 2 results are replicated, we will have a very differentiated product for retinal disease. So that is clearly for us the next step. But in terms of external acquisition, in terms of M&A, we are very open to do more. We just need to find more.
Excellent. Well, we hope you do, because I like talking to you about these great deals.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks for taking some time.
Thank you.